The voice of South African liberation is awakening these students. After spending years in Robben Island prison fighting against apartheid, these former political prisoners share their experience, strength, and hope through song.
The only thing that we were left with was our voices, so we sang.
What really moved me was how long they were in prison for, just for basically doing nothing. I mean, I just don't get it.
I find their message very, very inspiring for them to come and sing for us.
It's unknown heroes out there, and they are definitely heroes.
Welcome to a place where South African freedom fighters and Chicago high school students share the power of music for a day. Prosser Career Academy.
It just feels good to know that there are people out there like that who went through struggles and would like to pass it down to you on learning.
They're here to entertain, they're here to educate, we are here to enjoy, and we are here to be edified, ladies and gentlemen. Robben Island Singers.
There were the individuals who, during the time when apartheid was very prevalent in South Africa, that got involved in the struggle, the fight. There were guys who believed in their freedom, and they were willing to go to prison for it, and they were willing to stay in prison until justice came.
They were arrested and imprisoned on Robben Island, a prison island off the coast of Cape Town. And that's where Nelson Mandela was, and hundreds of other political prisoners. And there they remained for 9, 10, and 13 years, doing hard labor and tortured, until they were finally released into a new South Africa, politically free, but not economically free.
Timbinkosi was finally freed in 1986. Grant and Muntu were freed in 1990. From half a world away, the Robben Island Singers are visiting Prosser to teach students about the struggle in South Africa.
We would pretend to be playing tennis, and at times would seem to have hit the ball at the wrong place, and we knew that they would get the message and they would throw the ball back to us when what was inside was already taken, so that they knew whether we had political questions that we wanted to ask, or whether there were certain problems that we're having at the section, and we wanted their advice and wisdom.
So music was one message that, and a very powerful tool that was able to cut across Namibia, Angola, Cuba, Soviet Union, all over in prison.
In this world, everything's a struggle. But are you going to go out there and fight in a positive way? Yeah. I mean, we look at Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and all these other people. But there's also, you know, as we see now, people that's not known to the community. And by doing this and coming to our school, that's teaching me, it's teaching my peers, and also the grown-ups, which have probably never heard them before. It's teaching them that it's unknown heroes out there. And they are definitely heroes.
The only thing that we were left with was our voices. So we sang. So that throughout the struggle, music tended to be always there. I can't remember the time when they would not be singing.
It's the deeper meaning that really shows you it's all the same thing, you know. They might have gone through an extremely bigger and harder struggle, but you could say we kind of go through the same things here.
Man, there's a lot of parallels. Africa, you know, is predominantly black, but then you got this white government running South Africa, so, you know, it kind of takes out the balance. So it was pretty smart, you know, to communicate through song, to give them hope, some sort of hope.
It's exciting for us because the students are at an age where we were when we got involved in the struggle. The history seems to tell us that people at this age have questioning minds. They are reaching a stage in their lives when they want to know what the world is all about. And if they are able to learn from our experiences, the route that we have taken, and understand the conditions that brought those actions up, then they are in a position to understand their own conditions in America and take decisions that are relevant to the American situation, which would hopefully improve the lot of the American people.
Take our country, take us away. We shall take over, take over. Take our country, take us away.
Considering what they'd been through, I can't believe that there was no anger, there was no resentment. They held nothing, and because they forgave, they were free, and because they were free, they could love, and because they were loved, they were the presence of God in my building, and that's what I wanted my kids to see.
They are struggling in their own way. Some of them are dealing with race relations, some of them are dealing with socioeconomic disadvantages, and they're teenagers. So they're struggling against themselves and everyone else in their whole lives right now. And so it's a message that they relate to strongly.
Yeah, I think the message that you are putting across, one is peace and the resilience of the human spirit against evil. And also sending a message that we need to encourage in the world to sort out our problems through dialogue.
In my perception, American people don't seem to know much about the world around them, and we seem to know quite a lot about Americans. And that imbalance is dangerous because then we don't speak the same language. So to be able to talk to young people who are at a formative stage and a very critical stage of having to decide what is important to them, to interact with us who have been there, in a way I think would help.
There are so many things that I wish they would take away from this experience, but I would say the number one thing is to look at these men and realize that the injustices that they've suffered are likely greater than any that we will, and if they have the power to forgive the people who have oppressed them, then we need to stand up and have the power, take the power to forgive those people who are unjust to us as well.